Welcome everybody. You come in under mute and no camera. So when you're ready, go ahead and turn the camera on and unmute yourself.
Okay, we're.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
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 So welcome. We had you in a waiting area. If you were kind of wondering what limbo space you were in, all of our kids will end up in a waiting area until teachers are ready to let them in. And that way we don't have kids that are unsupervised on these Zoom calls. And we'll wait about a minute for more to show up. Thank you all for being here, being early. And Misty, they'll just keep chiming on you to let them in, okay?
Yep. Got it.
Ms. Gillian, how many people do we have in our Zoom so far?
Well, excluding us is 8.
Okay.
So another one's connecting.
Someone's connecting their audio. All right, and we will go ahead and get started. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Mrs. Loether, and I'm going to be starting us off. As you can probably tell, we are going to move to distance learning. We have very little information as far as how long distance learning will last. For our local government, it is until further notice or indefinitely, which means to the end of the school year. The state has said indefinitely or until further notice, which is the end of the school year. And federal guidelines right now are at April 30th. So for Cajon Valley, we do have to wait for our state and local San Diego County Health Department to deem it okay, safe for return. And right now we don't have a date for that. So we are in process of planning and implementing distance learning for students. And this distance learning will start as of April 20th. So we're finishing up 3 weeks of closures, and thank you so much for having your kids at home and doing the best you can to keep up academics and socialization and keep them busy, because I know there's a lot out there. And then we're going to go into 2 weeks of spring break. It's the official spring break time. So you won't see daily emails for the next 2 weeks, and you won't see much of us because it's official spring break. And then April 20th is when teachers will start their official distance learning, and we'll carry that forward as long as we need to. Okay, so for Cajon Valley and us, first off, we're going to be offering our distance learning over Zoom. Right now, that is the best option, and we've put in some security measures for students. Our teachers have been trained on Zoom, and our wonderful students have been participating in Zoom calls for practice the last 2 weeks. And if you've participated and helped your kid through the glitches of Zoom, I really appreciate it, and the kids have loved seeing each other. So with that, Miss Weatherford, will you walk us through the Zoom window frame?
Sure. So you're going to start up, if you're looking up in the upper right-hand corner, you should see something that says speaker view or gallery view. That changes how many frames you see on your computer. So if you just want to highlight the person that's speaking or the other ones. And if you'll follow right along down to the bottom of your screen, on the left-hand side, you'll see the microphone. That's to mute yourself. We'll often start our meetings with students muted or parents muted. And you can change that and adjust that, but we can also turn students and yourselves on or off. And right next to it is the video camera where you can, once you'll hit start video, we'll be able to see what everyone's doing, or stop if you don't want to be displayed on camera. So you can go ahead and select stop video and still listen, but we won't see you. And then if you slide on down over, you'll see a dialog box, and under it is called chat. So that is where you can send us questions, and Ms. Loether will touch on that. And we'll go ahead and show you how students can find it on their Chromebooks, as they haven't found it yet on their Chromebooks. So when students open up their Chromebooks, in the bottom left-hand corner of their screen, you'll see that highlighted circle icon. So you'll train students to go down to that left-hand corner, click the circle, and open it up. And once you open it up, you're going to have them scroll down. So they're going to have to keep going through a couple pages because they have multiple apps there. And they're going to scroll to the next page, and it'll be located at the very bottom there. You can see it circled, the little camera icon in the blue circle. So you'll train your children to go down and select Zoom there in order to join the meetings. They're familiar with going through Hello ID, and we'll show you the programs that are on that in a few slides. But for Zoom specifically, start at the left-hand corner, open that circle, slide down, scroll through all the apps, and at the bottom you'll find Zoom, and that's how they'll join our meetings. This is new and unfamiliar for them, so try to go ahead and do a couple practice runs with that.
Thank you, Ms. Weatherford. So for now, go ahead and have a look at the chat box, and throughout this presentation, if you have questions, go ahead and type them into the chat box. At the end of the presentation, we'll go through all the questions and answer as many as we can. So for the Rios and the Cajon Valley Plan, we've selected an advisory model, and we've also selected playlists. So you'll see our teachers being advisors to kids. For Rios, we've selected to meet with kids as much as we possibly can on a daily basis. The only day that we won't be meeting with kids is on Wednesday. So your children will be invited to a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday meeting with their teacher. And the kindergarten meeting, I believe, is at 9:30. Is that correct?
Correct.
So at 9:30, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll ask your kids to get on Zoom. I understand some kids have been sleeping in, and I would love to see them up early in the morning and stick to a regular schedule. So that is why we're doing early meetings for kiddos. So Miss Gilland and Miss Weatherford set them on their way to playlists, and then they'll spend 2 to 3 hours on playlists each day. And you will also have a playlist on Wednesday as well. So we'll go through each of those, advisory and playlist. So first up is advisory, and Miss Gilland. Oh, sorry.
Oh, our role will still be teachers, but the district is asking us to take on a more coaching or counseling role with our students. So each Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, when we meet up with your students at 9:30 on Zoom, that'll be a time for us to connect with them, have conversations. They can see their friends. That'll also be the time when we give them that gentle nudge. Okay, this is what is on your playlist for today. We're going to be, checking in on your work and making sure you're doing the tasks that we ask. It's really putting them in charge of doing the learning. They see that playlist, and we'll give them those reminders, but it's them taking charge of their learning at this point. We'll do some social emotional questions, checking in, how are they doing, and like I said, just facilitating those interactions. Since they don't get to go on the playground and chat with their friends, it's still giving them that platform to meet up and know that we're there for them and whatever they need.
All right. And then this is on the playlists. So Miss Weatherford, if you'd like to unmute.
So we are now going to be using Seesaw as our platform to be sending work out. If you have been in Mrs. G's class, you might have been using Dojo and some other things. We're kind of streamlining all of kindergarten so Mrs. Gilland and I can work together. So everything will be sent out through Seesaw. So please, obviously, if you're here today, you're most likely connected. Reach out to those families. If not, if you have children in other grade levels, they will be sending their playlists out in different platforms, most likely through Google Classroom or something else. So just be aware for kindergarten, we'll be sending everything out through Seesaw. And they call this an e-learning playlist, and right now you can see its title. It's under construction. We're still working on it. We're still getting the figured out. But in order, the reason we created these e-learning playlists was to provide students, all of them, to have access to standards-based curriculum, provide them some consistency, but not to overwhelm them with amount of work. So if you look closely at this playlist, at the top section of it, you'll see our name, the date, so which week that you'll be working on, and then there's a section right down below where we'll put announcements if there's anything that's changing or upcoming, for example, Spirit Days or anything like that. And then it also has, so that whole playlist is for the entire week, and also on that you'll have daily activities. So you'll see Monday, you'll have the activities for Monday and Tuesday. Try to stick to that. I know sometimes it seems, you know, like you want to just conquer the whole week, but we don't want students to spend an endless amount on screen time. So that's why we've designated each activity for about 20 to 30 minutes. And we don't want them the entire day on the screen. We want them also doing activities outside, connecting with family. They'll be Zooming and making those connections with us as well. You also might have seen already, as they're working through these playlists, a big red screen will pop up and tell them to move. There's movement breaks incorporated into their work. We really want them to, you know, not just be zoned out on the computer for 3 hours a day. So each activity is about 20 to 30 minutes. This is not the 6-hour school day that they're used to. They should be spending about 2.5 to 3 hours a day on it. On the teacher's end, we're able to differentiate and customize based on your students' needs. We'll be monitoring their progress and adjusting it as is. So initially it'll come out same format for everyone, and then we'll be able to watch how they're doing with it. We want them to be working independently. Of course, you can support them, but we'd like you to direct them to be working independently on these activities. So 20 to 30 minutes per activity. Get up, do some movement, wiggle, and they should be spending about 2.5 hours a day doing schoolwork. And I know I talk really fast, so if you have questions on that, go ahead and add it to the chat there. On these playlists too, these are all programs that they're pretty familiar with. There might be a few new ones added. For example, we have ST Math, Smarty Ants. They've been doing all of that. iReady and Code.org. Mystery Science, they're familiar with. They're normally having it from the teacher direction, but they're able to identify it based on the icon too. So we'll go ahead and this should be nothing new for them.
So overall, we want the online programs and the activities that the kids do in their playlists to do the heavy lift of the academics. Teachers will be monitoring reports, usage, and scores of all of these programs. And then teachers, in their time interacting with students, will reinforce relationships, make sure students stay connected, make sure they're still aware of their social skills and social interactions, which is really important because many of us are not getting outside. All right, and this is our Hello ID.
So on the students' Chromebooks, when they hit or click on the Chrome button, we always call it the rainbow circle at the bottom, they know to go to the Hello ID. This is where the district houses all of the applications for the students to easily access. So for example, as you can see on this screen, Seesaw's here, Smarty Ants is here. They will find ST Math is here. So all those apps that go out on the playlist, this is where the kids go to access them. They're also familiar, the icon at the bottom of the screen, it shows on their Chromebooks up in the upper right-hand corner, but they can also click on the home button, as you can see on the upper left-hand side of the screen, and it will take them to this Hello ID as well. So they're familiar with this, and this is where they'll access the programs that they find on their playlist.
I think I mentioned earlier, we are moving everything to Seesaw. So as you get familiar with it, there's a messaging feature. You can message Mrs. G or myself. We've actually added each other, so we're both co-teachers on both accounts, but you can message us individually still. It's also where your students will be posting and submitting all of their work. And I would like to note too that you're able on your end to like their work, comment on them, or encourage them, as if it was on Facebook or something like that. You would like your friends' posts and comment. The kids really love seeing that. Mom said, "Way to go on your reading." The playlist will be there, and again, they can read us books daily on there. Just grab a book and read aloud to us. You can message us on there. So everything will be sent through there, and we'll be sending out a sheet for you guys in the next couple days here with all the information and codes to access that.
And along with that, on Seesaw, last night I posted a video for our whole school. So you should find a video that I've asked the kids to share with you and watch together, because it might be very moving for the kids to watch and see that school is going to be online for the rest of the school year. So if you could, find that video on Seesaw and then watch it with your children. Okay, so as we said, the next 2 weeks are going to be spring break. So the 6th through the 17th, Rios Elementary will continue to serve lunches. So if you're taking advantage of the free lunches that we have at Rios or at any site across the district, that will continue. It's 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. If you are one of our families that are being delivered lunches, that will also continue. And we have volunteers who are running those. We plan to return on April 20th. So on April 20th at 9:30, Ms. Gilliland and Ms. Weatherford will each have a Zoom meeting for their classes, and we would like to see all of our students at 9:30 on the Zoom meeting on April 20th. Our daily emails from school will not continue over spring break. We'll post any new things over social media. If we have large announcements, we'll use the email or use all calls. But our school communication will kind of minimize over spring break. So we haven't gone away, we've just gone on vacation, okay? The students still have Seesaw available to them, and teachers have posted lots of assignments. So we won't post any new assignments to Seesaw, but the students can continue to finish old assignments over Seesaw. They can also continue to read a book and post videos of themselves over Seesaw. We highly recommend daily iReady for reading and daily ST Math for math, and the students can get to those on their Chromebooks. Also, we've shared out a link to our website where you can print kindergarten packets, and you also have access to parent answer keys to check the kids' answers. So that's available on our school website. Unfortunately, through all of the paper pickup that we had yesterday, we are out of kindergarten packets at this time to give them to you in physical paper. However, we plan to have those available next week, and they'll be available during lunch delivery, or you can pick up in a cabinet that we'll be placing on Rios Canyon Road that will have our paper packets available, school supplies, and library books that you can give and take. So that will be available to you, and that'll be next to our purple marquee on Rios Canyon Road so that you can access it at any time.
And I just wanted to add too, I forgot when I spoke about the playlist. Playlist will come out every Monday at 9 a.m. for all students. So if you have in multiple grade levels, everybody should be accessing their work directly. So their playlist will come out at 9 o'clock. They'll meet with us at 9:30. So that way, if you have any questions, that would be the chance to ask. But Monday at 9 a.m. is when they'll have access to those playlists.
And they'll have the entire week's worth of playlist available to them on Monday. I also want to let you know that you'll be getting a lot of phone calls and emails today. So the district, as well as us, we're giving you announcements today. So you'll get a 9:45 phone call from me reading a letter from the district. And again, it just goes over the fact that we don't have a set date for return, but we will be starting April 20th with distance learning. And then you're going to get an email later in the day with many, many details about the district's direction for distance learning. So do check your emails later in the day. That email will be pretty lengthy, and I would highly recommend printing it because I believe the document is about 4 to 5 pages, and you may want to be able to reference it later. That document will be available for pickup from our lunch drop-off and pickup next week. However, it's not ready in print form yet. So you'll be getting an email later today, you'll be getting phone calls later today, and parent messages will be going out later today. So be ready for a lot of phone calls from Rios and phone calls from the district office. All right, so thank you so much. If you have any questions, please add them to the chat box. And someone had asked about the class grouping. So we had done our Zoom meetings when we were practicing and meeting up with the kids the last 2 weeks as an entire grade level. Our Zoom meetings going forward are going to be by class grouping. So Miss Gilliland's class and Miss Weatherford's class meeting together in a Zoom separately. And then they do have the ability to do breakout screens and break out into smaller groups over Zoom, but we're not going to open that feature until we're very, very firm in our Zoom skills and we know what we're doing first. And I'll open it up. If you have any questions you'd like to unmute yourself and ask, or if you'd like to chat, talk in the chat box. Either way is fine.
I have a question on the packets.
Yes.
So how long do those packets, how much learning is that? I mean, is that like 2 weeks worth of learning, a month worth of learning, a week's worth of learning? Because it seems like a lot of paper.
Yeah, it's the packets are like 15 minutes a day and there's like 20 pages to them. So it should carry you through several weeks.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I was like,
and I would look at it like a page a day or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
they look like this, and right on the front, you'll see that they have English language arts or the math. This is my daughter's 2nd grade one, but it has recommendations. So just 10 to 15 minutes. So I just set a timer for 15 minutes and let her work through whatever she does and then get through it after that because they are pretty overwhelming.
It looks like a lot of it was almost printed off like the iReady because it was kind of the stories. And so can they still get that same just doing the iReady, or do you guys still want like the pencil paper, that packet done as well?
We'd like 20 minutes a day of iReady, but if the pencil and paper is working for you and you need it for your sanity or to keep them occupied, that's fine. But it was kind of designed for students who didn't have internet access at the time that we could do paper and pencil packets. So
okay,
if
so
you have, yeah, if you have internet, then keep going doing what you're doing that way. If something happens or you're traveling, then take the packets with you.
Okay, great.
Well, and it's not something too that we're going to be collecting. So really it's just for extra support at home for parents who are like, we need something to do. So it's not something we're going to be collecting or that you have to turn in either. So if you do it, great. If not, it's just there for you.
We had a question in the chat. As far as attendance goes, we ask that kids be on every Zoom call. Now, this illness may affect your family in many different ways. So if your child's sick, just send the teachers an email or a note on Seesaw and say, so-and-so is not feeling well and not going to be able to attend. However, we do want them on the Zoom calls as much as possible to keep up with their connection to their friends and to school and to their academics. We have no signs that we need to make up this time like into the summer or anything along those lines. So there are no indications that this time off of school, this 3 weeks that we've been off, will need to be made up in the summer. And there's been no determination on that. So likely we will end, I believe it's June 18th is our last day of school. We'll head out into summer, and then hopefully we'll be able to reconvene in the fall in person, and the world will be a better place then. As far as promotion and moving to the next grade level, this is not an indicator of retention. We traditionally use social promotion, meaning the kids move from each grade level to each grade level, no matter if they can read, no matter if they're advanced, no matter if they're falling behind or if they're on grade level. So students move from one grade to the next grade, even if we were in regular school, without any penalty. So I do not foresee any problems with your children moving on to the next grade level.
Miss G,
Yeah.
I have a question. On the 6th, which is the last day of school, it's also Noah's birthday.
Mhm.
He has been saying how he wanted to invite everybody in class to his birthday party,
Okay.
but now we can't do that. I was wondering if we could do like a Zoom call for him, like a virtual birthday party. I don't know if we could arrange something like that.
Yeah, email me and we can chat about it and see what we could do.
Okay,
All right?
cool. Thank you.
Of course.
There's certainly big events in kids' lives that they're wanting to celebrate, and it's hard to celebrate when we're stuck at home.
Yes.
Any other questions?
No, I don't think we, oh, I did have another one as far as like the students attending the Zoom chats. You said if, when they're sick, you know,
Mm-hmm.
this might affect them. I'm noticing like emotional ups and downs with my kids, especially, you know, my younger one.
Mm-hmm.
How do we handle if they're just not feeling it that day? They're just down. I've noticed that my kids here just some days are just in a funk. Just they don't want to get out of it.
Yeah, we've been in funks too. I totally get it. So what I believe is that the kids' normal routine is to go to school. So they will seek normalcy.
Okay.
And so I feel like they will seek out school, their teachers, their friends for that morning phone call, just to have that interaction, because kindergartners are social beings. So I'm hoping that they'll be a little excited about getting up, about talking to friends. Teachers will have some conversations with them, check in with them, and then set them kind of on their way to do their playlist. So I'm hoping by the teachers having the earlier morning meeting, that will help the kids to wake up early. And last second. Ooh, my 9:45 phone call's coming through, so yours might too.
Yep, that was just it.
I'm hoping that by the kids having the early morning wake-up call with their teachers, that will be a sense of normal for them, and then they'll move through their day with that structure in place. So I'm hoping that this helps the students rather than causes some emotional stirring. Again, if they're having a hard day, use your best parental judgment, and that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
This might be out of their comfort zone. I know for Mrs. G and I, we were very uncomfortable with Zoom starting last week, and now that we've been doing it, we've become more comfortable. My daughter had hers last week. She was extremely shy, didn't want to go on. It's not typically like her. So I just left it open on her desk. And then when she saw all of her friends bringing something to share and their dogs, and she eventually kind of, snuck over to peek over. And so I've just been leaving it open, and it's on. And if she wants to, and eventually she's been kind of guiding over. So it might be a process because it is kind of outside some of our comfort zones and those of us that are shy. So I would recommend every day, log it on, open it up for them. And then maybe when they see how much fun their friends are having, they might want to choose to participate at that point too.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I can't think of it. We don't have any. I don't know about anybody else.
I have a question.
Guys.
My oldest son, he has IUP. Do I have to get with Mrs. Delahouse to talk to him about the resources he usually goes to her for?
Yeah. So as far as IEPs, and some of your other students may have IEPs, right now we're starting the kids kind of like the beginning of the school year. We start them all with their gen ed teachers, and we adjust as we go for students with IEPs. So the plan for all of Rios is any child with an IEP, even EL students who are learning English, will be with their gen ed teachers. Their teachers will be adjusting the curriculum and the playlists for what they need. So if they need a lower level of reading, if they need a different, a different program for math, the teachers will be working with Miss Tansen, Miss James, or Miss Delahousie to adjust those playlists for students with IEPs. Initially, in the first week, we're going really light because we're getting kids used to Zooms. We're getting kids used to this work. So we're starting all the kids in the same place. Week 2, 3, and 4 will continue to adjust, and we'll see kind of how they go. Kids that are just kind of low readers, we'll adjust for them too. iReady already has it adjusted for the students, and the students are placed at their ability. The same thing for ST Math as well.
Okay.
So we do have support for that. You will not see, like if you have speech therapy or if you have OT or if you have adaptive PE, you will not see like one-on-one sessions for those. It'll be most likely pushing out like videos, tips, and things that parents can practice with students.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Loether, it looks like we have a comment on how to get to Zoom again. Can you scroll up to that slide so we can just show how to access Zoom one more time on the Chromebooks, on student Chromebooks?
Okay, there we go.
So I think we had some of us join a little bit late. So in order to get on Zoom from your child's Chromebook, you're going to see that purple circle there at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. They're going to click on that open circle, and when they click on that, it'll open up all of their apps. They have several apps there, so they're going to continue to scroll down all the way until you see the Zoom app, which is located on that purple circle. It's a blue circle with a video camera, and then they'll click the Zoom app to launch it there. So playlist work is through Hello ID. Zoom is kind of the only outlier at this point, is through that circle at the beginning under their apps.
Okay. And with that, we greatly appreciate all of you and all of your efforts. We miss the kids dearly, and we are very excited to launch distance learning on April 20th. We wish you all the best for the next 2 weeks of health and wellness and keeping your family safe. And we so appreciate your time to be on this phone call.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that, when you're ready, you can hit the bottom right-hand corner and click Leave Meeting.
Hi, Mason.
Speech therapy, we don't have video chats for. They're looking through a few HIPAA and COBRA and other laws that regulate communication with children. So they're looking through what's best accessible. So we don't quite have a solution for like a one-on-one speech meeting or a group therapy meeting.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for coming.
Bye, Isaac. Good
Bye,
to see
Isaac.
you. I'll see you soon. Isaac, do you remember how to leave the meeting?
No.
Okay, so go down to the bottom right in the red letters with the capital L. Can you go all the way to the bottom? Do you see that? Push that button and then I'll disappear.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you helping.
Do you want to stop recording?
Sure. Hold on. I just minimize my screen here.